To record. Oh, good. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Hello from a very cold but sunny Cambridge. My name's Jim Gazzard. I'm the Director of Continuing Education at the University of Cambridge. And welcome to this virtual open day for the International Pre-Masters course. We're going to refer to the course as IPM as an abbreviation. The formal name of the qualification is the Advanced Diploma in Research, Theory and Practice in English, and there are pathways in engineering or business management. But welcome everyone to this open day. So if we go on to the next slide, please, Corey, just to talk briefly about what we're going to be speaking about today. My colleagues will introduce themselves as they speak in a few minutes. We're going to look at an introductory video of the course, then talk about the amazing place that the University of Cambridge is, a comprehensive academic overview, a look at the English language curriculum that the IPM delivers, specifically the business management and then the engineering curricula. Most importantly, perhaps, how to apply to the course, and of course what life is like in the city of Cambridge and this tremendous university. And then what happens after the IPM? What are your options for postgraduate study? And then lots of time for questions. So on that note, we'll have a look at a video describing the course.
The International Pre-Masters is a one-year full-time course designed for students as a preparation for master's level study. It focuses on designed for students as a preparation for master's level study. It focuses on improving students' language skills, training designed for students as a in appropriate research training techniques, and updating their subject specialist preparation for master's engineering and business management. English is important. Level study.
Corey, it looks like the technology may not be working as effectively as it could do, so we will send the videos afterwards. The video is on the website for the IPM too. So I'd like to talk about our aims for the course. The course is to provide a high quality program focused on international students and to allow them to progress to postgraduate level study by thinking about relevant academic skills and then the discipline specific skills in either engineering or business management. Importantly, getting English language academic levels to IELTS 7 and to a strong academic level. And thinking about cultural awareness of working and studying in a research-intensive university in the United Kingdom or elsewhere in North America or Australia, for example. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So the University of Cambridge, it was established over 800 years ago. It is one of the leading universities in the world. The university's mission is to contribute to society through the pursuit of education, learning and research at the very highest levels when compared to all international universities. It's one of the world's leading centres of research, and that's evidenced by, for example, 118 different Nobel laureates, so amazing scientists and authors and intellectuals in all disciplines graduate from this university. Over the course of its history, it's been one of the most influential centres of learning, and our alumni are in key positions around the world. There are about 8,000 academics here and about 20,000 students. So about 12,500 undergraduates and 7,500 postgraduate students. So that's just a brief outline of the university. What makes the university so unique and special is the collegiate system here. So there are 31 independent Cambridge colleges who work in partnership with the university to deliver a scholarly environment of excellence. Each college is a community. It's a community of students, academics, researchers, and they provide a unique learning environment, a very friendly and accessible community of peers, individual study support to help you with your program of study, guidance about well-being to make sure that you are happy and engaged and supported within the university, and of course residential accommodation. So 3 colleges are supporting the IPM. Lucy Cavendish College, which is an all-female college, Girton College, which is a mixed college, and Wolfson College, which is mixed as well. So just going on to the IPM partnership, who is delivering this course? So the Institute of Continuing Education, we refer to that as ICE or ICE, we are coordinating the administration and the majority of the teaching. The university's language centre is providing the language tuition. The Cambridge colleges that I've described, the scholarly community, and we are being supported by the Cambridge Judge Business School and the Department of Engineering here in Cambridge. So it is a collaboration to think about core study skills, discipline-specific knowledge and skills, language learning, and more than that, a real community of learning to progress to postgraduate level study. So on that note, I will hand over to Nigel Ketley to talk about the aims of the IPMS programme.
Great, thanks Jim. I'd just like to start really by welcoming everyone again to the presentation, telling you a bit about my role on the programme. I'll be the academic director for the programme, responsible for its academic development, its quality assurance, the quality of teaching and learning you receive on the course, and also monitoring things like students' progress. And for the next 15 minutes or so, I'd really like to talk about the aims of the programme, the course structure for the programme, some of the underlying themes which bind the programme together, how you would be assessed as a student on the programme, and also how you would be taught. And I think the very first message about the programme is it's exciting, it's new, it's innovative. And this is a departure to some extent from work that's been done in Cambridge before, because what we're trying to do is produce a programme focused on research skills, taking students with a background in engineering and business management and really preparing them for master's level study. So you'll notice from the slide in front of you, the whole emphasis of the course, the whole structure of the curriculum is focused around the notion of the research cycle. And it's taking students with a background in a discipline and preparing them across a full-time year of study to become active, engaged researchers in their discipline, fully prepared to progress to master's level study. So the second aim of the programme is quite obviously getting you to think about literature in your field and in your subject specialism, so you can synthesize it and identify research questions that you would actually like to pursue in your own topic. And once you've done that, we would like you to be able to relate that to key current and emerging themes in your discipline. So you'll see in a moment there are 4 key themes binding the course together, which focus on fundamental global challenges which we think research in engineering and business management can help students and the wider community address. By the time we get to Unit 2, we'll be looking at how you actually do research. So that's about research design, research methods, qualitative research, and my own specialism, mixed methods research. So the first 2 units of the course are preparing you to conduct a research project, and the latter aims of the course are actually getting you to put that learning into practice by conducting your own research project. Reviewing literature, developing a research question, devising research strategies and research methods, being able to analyze, interpret data, to write up a research project, to be able to disseminate that to stakeholders in your disciplinary field as a way, for example, of improving your own employability and career prospects. So I think and I hope from what I've said about the aims of the course, the whole notion of a research cycle is reflected in the fundamental design of the course. So Unit 1, which is a term, Unit 2 and 3 likewise, we start off with research fundamentals, and we're concerned with getting you to think like a researcher, not just to read textbooks, but actually to start engaging with a research community and understanding the disciplinary conventions in your field, be that funding issues, ethical issues, wider methodological issues, links to industry, links to business. And the nature of the first unit requires you to conduct systematic literature reviews and work to generate your research question in your own topic. And of course, each unit is fully supported by language and literacy support, which my colleague Karen will talk to you in a moment about. By the time we get on to research at Unit 2, we'll be focusing on issues of design. We'll take the research design process and look at different models of research design. So we'll disaggregate, for example, sequential models, cyclical models, developmental models, and we'll relate that to how you actually go about conducting quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods research, and develop appropriate strategies for those. Importantly, though, the course isn't just about gathering data, it's about enabling you to analyze data through, for example, a statistical training if your method is quantitative, through narrative analysis and use of software packages like NVivo. And finally, by the third unit, you will hopefully be fully prepared to begin work on your own research project with the guidance of a dissertation supervisor, which I'll talk to you in a moment about in a little more detail. So it is about getting you to operationalize what you've already experienced, to actually do research as a preparation for progressing to master's level study. So I've already highlighted the International Pre-Masters is held together by 4 cross-cutting themes. So throughout the 3 units I've just described, the 4 themes that we'll revisit across the whole course are managing technology and innovation, the idea of the aging workforce and productivity, environmental and governance issues, and virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. I don't want to say too much about these at this stage because my colleagues in business management and in engineering will give you some examples of research projects you could do on the course in those fields. But a key message at this stage is the course is innovative. It is focused on these 4 areas precisely because we believe these represent really important global challenges where we need innovative research-led responses to help businesses, governments, and societies tackle fundamental problems in these fields. Some of you may think, well, this all sounds great, but I'm going to have to do some work. I'm going to be assessed. And of course, this is a Cambridge qualification, and over the year, there is an assessment regime which is summative. So for example, in Unit 1, you have to write a 3,000 or 4,000 word essay, which is a systematic literature review related to your project. In Unit 2, you have to prepare your methodological design and report on that, either through doing a mini project, which could involve a piece of pilot research, or by writing a methodological essay of 3,000 to 4,000 words. And finally, in the dissertation, you would report the entirety of your research project in a thesis of up to 12,000 words. Now, I'm fully aware that for many students coming to Cambridge, this type of assessment can seem overwhelming and at times somewhat alien. So the course is designed specifically through each module. You receive formative feedback leading into the summative assessment, the literature review, the mini project, the dissertation. So for example, in module 1, you would write a literature review plan or skeleton. In module 2, you would look at research summaries, and you would receive feedback from the tutoring staff to prepare you for the essays or dissertation. The nature of teaching on this course, I think it's also important to emphasize, is supposed to be fun. It is supposed to be engaging. It's supposed to be experiential. You know, we want you to come to Cambridge and learn, and we want to learn from you about your backgrounds, about your research interests, and we want those to help develop the program. So the teaching methods throughout the whole year will include whole group workshops where we emphasize interdisciplinarity and engineers and business management students work together. They collaborate. You'll then have separate seminars in your subject-specific area for management or business studies. There'll be group supervisions, mini conferences where you can present summaries of your work. You'll get software training in things like SPSS and Vivo. There'll be a well-resourced and highly interactive virtual learning environment for the programme. And of course, as Karen will tell you in a moment, you'll receive full language and literacy support. I think the final thing I would like to say at this stage about the programme, for many students confronting a Cambridge dissertation of 12,000 words, that can be quite a daunting prospect. But the nature of the dissertation, the whole course prepares you for that. And in the third term, you'll receive 10 individual 1-hour supervisions with a subject specialist in your area helping to prepare you to do the best possible work that you're capable of to facilitate progression to a master's.
So we'll hand on to Karen Otwell to discuss the academic language and literacy.
Thank you, Jim. I seem to have lost the slides at the moment. Are they still there? Hello?
Yeah, we're just putting the slides back, Karen.
See that? For a moment.
Excellent, there we are.
There we go, wonderful. And well, welcome to all of you from me as well. As you can see, my name is Karen Otwell. My role in the university is that of Director of Academic Development and Training for international students. So myself and my team here at the Language Centre support all international students at the university, predominantly postgraduate students, and we will be using that experience and expertise in this programme in the ICE Pre-Masters. And as you can see here then, our main objective across all of our programmes, as indeed will be with this one, is to provide you with the language and literacy support to enable you to hit the ground running, both in this programme, so the ICE Pre-Masters, and indeed what you are looking to go on to do after you've completed this programme. So the approach to this very much will be, Nigel's taken you through the 3 units in the programme and the cyclical approach to the research cycle. Our approach with this will be very much drawn on the approach we take here at the university supporting the postgrads here, is very much a hand-in-hand support. We will be enabling and supporting and helping you to develop and hone your academic literacy skills within the discipline-specific environment that you'll be working on the programme, and also supporting you with the tasks, the assessment tasks that you've just heard all about from Nigel, in developing within that particular context, within your particular discipline. So it's very much a hand-in-hand approach. It isn't kind of a language course on the side. Of course, all of us with the programme will be there to help you develop your language skills more generally, to improve your proficiency and fluency across the range. But the specific drive is to support your academic literacy in what you're doing. If we look then particularly from the language and literacy component of this, you've heard from Nigel then the 3 units that you're going across and the summative and formative assessment that you'll be doing. What we will be doing then across these 3 units is supporting you from the literacy side. So here you see just an overview of what we'll be doing across the 3 terms. So in the first one then, really looking at providing a full introduction to what studying in English at postgraduate level requires, what it all entertains, what you need to kind of develop, both in terms of language and literacy support. As you go across the programme then, having covered the basics in academic writing, and in particular as noted there, the cognitive and literacy skills required at master's level, we'll be looking then at developing your discipline-specific argumentation. So not just how English works at this level and what we expect in terms of clarity and proficiency in communication, but also how your discipline argues. And I'll come on to that more in a moment, so that you can really effectively present the research you're doing on the program, both in writing and in presentations, in speech. And as you've seen then from Nigel in the third part of the program, then you'll be looking at a larger dissertation for this, as you've seen. So we'll start that particular term looking at some revision seminars, looking at what we've covered over the year, but then also moving into individual supervisions to really provide you with individual support throughout the writing process, as you're developing then your dissertation at the end of the program. So it is very much, whilst that the basis of this is very much developing your linguistic proficiency, particularly your academic literacy, it is more than just language. And that's important given the level of what you'll be doing, kind of pre-masters going on to masters or doctoral study afterwards. And just to give you an idea of where we're coming from and how we pitch this, you may have come across this diagram before. It's Bloom's taxonomy of learning domains. And basically the pyramid represents going through the different levels of education. So you start then at school remembering, you learn then to understand and apply, analyze and evaluate. But basically as you're going into the postgraduate realm, which this program is looking to fully prepare you for, you are at the apex of this pyramid. You're creating knowledge. You're adding to the sum total of knowledge in your particular discipline. So in terms of kind of then writing, giving presentations and communication, it isn't just about the linguistic skills. You are creating knowledge and really trying to then communicate this as effectively and as efficiently as you can. So as I noted, one of the things we'll be looking at is kind of developing your discipline-specific literacy skills as well, is kind of bringing in an understanding that culture, and I mean this in the broadest possible sense, cultures then don't write using the same assumptions, strategies and goals. And for that I mean both linguistic cultures, so national cultures, the formation of argument and how you approach argument and study is different from different linguistic cultures. We'll be looking to explore how that really works through English and what the expectations are from that perspective through the English language. But not only from a linguistic perspective, but also disciplinary cultures. Developing arguments is very much culturally embedded, both linguistically and from a discipline perspective. And we'll be raising your awareness of how different cultures have different ways of approaching the formation and development of an argument. Now you heard kind of Nigel speak a moment ago of kind of then different forms of analysis, so the qualitative, quantitative, and the mixed methods in the middle. So really what we're also raising awareness of is not only kind of how then English really works at this level and how you can really achieve that clarity in your communication to get across the research that you're doing, but also to kind of hook into the discipline sides of what you're working on the program to see how different disciplines, the epistemological base of the disciplines is different across the range. And this will inform how you communicate effectively within that particular discipline. So here you've just kind of got an overview from the science end through to the arts. So the more quantitative side on the science end through to the arts side where it's more interpretative. And to kind of raise your awareness of these disciplinary differences and how indeed they affect how we communicate within the academic context. So raising your awareness both of the linguistic side, but also then of the disciplinary side and how that influences how we communicate with clarity. But aside the kind of then the seminars that we'll be running, as Nigel has mentioned, and also then in the final term, the one-to-one support where we can really work with you individually to really hone and refine your writing ability in the dissertation side. What we'll do on the program is then you'll have access to the full suite of online materials that we've developed over the years here for the students here at the University of Cambridge. So here you can see an overview of the different areas that we look at. So achieving clarity in writing, how to achieve this in what you're doing. Approaches to editing, which is of course a very important skill of postgraduate work, because this is where you really kind of strengthen the clarity of the thoughts and of the writing in what you're doing. different features of these, so writing abstracts, also looking at self-study, which of course is a vital skill then at the postgraduate level. And of course, as Nigel was mentioning, one of the first things you'll be doing on the program is then kind of a literature review. And as you see down here at the bottom, we've also got some of the materials on that. So you'll have access to the full suite of materials that we do for all students here. And in fact, everything that we will be doing on the program will be drawn from the materials, support, and approach that we take to all of the students then here at the university. So very much drawn on our experience and expertise of working with graduate students here at Cambridge. So we're very much looking forward to welcoming you here at Cambridge and looking forward to working with you. And on that, I'll hand back to Nigel.
Integral part of the course as a whole. And for example, the assessment of your English language learning would be through the medium of your essays, mini project and dissertation. So it is integrated into the full programme of study. And the overriding logic of the programme, that which binds it all together from Unit 1 to Unit 3, is the whole notion of being a researcher and following a research sequence or cycle. So if you think about the structure of the course I outlined earlier, the structure from Unit 1 to 3 mirrors many classic presentations of the research cycle, from selecting a topic, refining your project through a literature review, developing a project plan or outline, research questions, developing a sample, developing your research instruments. Are you going to use things like questionnaires, interviews, observational strategies, secondary data, statistical analyses? Then actually getting you in a supported way to conduct that piece of research, working with a Cambridge specialist in engineering or business management. And I think from my perspective, having had many years involvement in research methods education, one of the areas that's often underplayed is actually analysing data and interpreting data. So on this course, we're going to also provide you with a really solid introduction to analytical techniques, for example, using software like SPSS or NVivo. But of course, when you run that material, the results don't speak for themselves. Linking back to what Karen said, you actually have to be able to understand, interpret, explain, compare the data that you've produced to make sense of it within a field of inquiry. So that's an example of how the English education and the methods education would tie together. And finally, you would be assisted with writing up your project. So from this academic overview of the course and its link between research methods and language and literacy skills education, you, throughout the programme, have an opportunity to either specialise in business management or engineering. And I'll now pass over to Suta, who will speak a little bit about the management strand.
Thank you, Nigel. My name is Suta. I'll talk about the business management pathway. So Nigel has already given lots of details about the 4 themes. And what's interesting is, business, multinational firms, Facebook, Google, they are very key today in shaping our lives. And so they are the ones leading in the technology and innovation, and, businesses are going to be key in actually solving, we're going to try to tackle how, an aging workforce is going to be managed, and productivity, things like that. So I think it's interesting for the business and management students because it's very key themes. Like you said, these are challenging in terms of businesses, government, research institutions. Everybody is trying to look into this because in the next maybe 100 years we'll be able to perfect automation and robots and things like that. So it's a nice time to actually start looking into these research areas. And I was just going to say that we're also, if you have a topic outside of the 4 themes, we can still accommodate you. You can apply because the intention here is to take your research interest and coach you in what you actually want to do. So, it's designed in such a way that we want you to achieve what is best for you. So, still apply if you've got a topic outside of those themes. Right, so a good example would be this company, Proteus Digital Health. So what they do, this is amazing. You take a pill, there's a patch as well that you wear, and this, is able to transmit through the sensors between the patch and the tablet. It's able to send your digital health to your computer, and that can be easily available to your doctor as well. So if your blood sugar was low, for example, your doctor might even know before you know. So, this is quite a key company, for example, in terms of talking about innovation. So if you wanted to research this company as a case study, you could do a qualitative research piece where you go into this company and you do face-to-face interviews with the managers or with the researchers, trying to identify what, how they would impact, business and the environment as a whole. Or you could do a quantitative study, as Nigel has mentioned, or mixed methods, where you perhaps do a multiple case study. You take, maybe 10 businesses and you do a survey. There are loads of questions to be asked in this regard, for example. So if we know that if the workforce has a good health, we can have higher productivity. So this is theory, and so if we're able to diagnose people's health problems in time, does that mean it can actually help with productivity? So these are very key questions which are exciting around technology. Next slide, please. Right, so how are we going to do that in terms of your different business disciplines? Because at undergraduate you might have done marketing, strategy, finance, and then you're wondering how does this fit with the 4 themes. What we're doing is, like I mentioned before, is if you're a finance student, I got a question about trading and stuff like that. We're going to take you into the theoretical frameworks for finance, for example. We'll take you into how to research, the research methods for a particular field. So it's different for marketing, it's different for economics, and we will be able to coach you in regards to your field. Next slide, please. So we're going to do that through research seminars, for example. We will have people who, based on your interest, we're going to get postdocs and PhDs to come and present seminars where you could learn from them how to research in finance or economics, for example. Next slide. Finally, how does the IPM fit into your master's level study? So if, now you're going to have your bachelor's, perhaps in economics, for example, and you would have done economic theory, and you would have done econometrics. You would be looking at, putting all that together in a master's. So you're going to be applying, what you've learned. I think you're going a bit too fast. But, just take it back a bit, please. Yeah, take it back a bit. Yeah, one more. Yeah, so a master's is fast-paced. It's 1 year. and you're going to be needing the research language. There's lots of languages in terms of each field. You're going to have to need very critical evaluation skills and generally research skills. So that's where the IPM comes in. You can click now. Yeah, so we're going to give you one-to-one coaching where you spend the time to learn the research language, quantitative, qualitative, philosophies and all that is important for you, and how to actually be critical, and then finally acquire the research skills that you need. So we're looking at taking you from your bachelor's into the pre-masters, and you can have a safe landing, when you get to your masters. And if you want to go to a PhD, you can have very good impactful research because you spend 2 years basically doing, learning how to research. Yeah, that's me finished. So
thank you very much. Handing on to Lee, talking about the engineering pathway.
Hello, I hope you can all hear me. My name is Lee Woods and I helped to develop the engineering pathway. My background is as a civil engineer, which is why I couldn't resist putting a picture of a bridge on the next slide. If we move to that slide. I wanted to give you a brief overview of how this pre-masters course on the engineering pathway will help you progress onto a master's level study and how it might be different from what you have studied at undergraduate level. So often on undergraduate courses, we have a lot of what we would call rote learning. So memorizing, repeating, you might be expected to follow instructions, to answer questions and do calculations. All of those things can be quite complicated and are very important. But what we're looking for more at master's level study is for you to be able to think critically. We expect you to learn through doing research. Instead of just being able to answer questions, you might be expected to decide what the questions are that should be asked. So what research questions should be posed. And instead of just following instructions, you might be expected to think about what the best way is of doing something, or to put it in a different terminology, you might be expected to determine a new methodology or the most appropriate methodology for whatever it is you're trying to do. The last bullet point on there, some people might think that engineering is all about doing maths, but engineering really is a very creative subject, and particularly when you're doing research, you'll be expected to be creating something new in terms of knowledge. So if we move on to the next slide. As has been mentioned, the course is taught around a number of themes, and within those themes there are lots of different engineering case studies that we could draw upon. So some examples here of some of the engineering case studies that might be used would be advanced manufacturing techniques and new engineering materials, development and application of artificial intelligence, engineering solutions to environmental issues, and virtual and augmented reality. All of these themes and case studies relate to various different engineering backgrounds. So whatever your engineering interest is, there should be relevance to the engineering case studies and the themes that we are going to be discussing as part of the course. So if we move on to the next slide. As an example of one of these themes, or case studies, looking at new engineering materials and how these might relate to whatever your engineering discipline is. Obviously, a very interesting new engineering material is graphene, and a lot of research is going on all over the world, including at the University of Cambridge, into graphene and its potential applications. So if you're interested in mechanical and aerospace engineering, there's a huge amount of research going on at the moment into how we can make lighter and stronger components for aeroplanes by using graphene. If you're interested in electronic and electrical engineering, graphene is a superconductor, and we're using it, or companies are already starting to use it, to try to make ultra-thin screens for televisions and mobile phones. And if you're a civil or structural engineer, the properties of graphene might enable us to make even higher and longer bridges than we've ever been able to do before in the past. Chemical engineering, graphene is being used as a method for creating chemicals by filtering and carrying out chemical separation. If you're an acoustical engineer, there's applications to making micro speakers and also acoustic damping devices which turn noise into heat. If you're an environmental engineer, there are applications where people are trying to develop methods of filtering water for developing countries. So hopefully you can see whatever your engineering interest is, this course should be relevant for you. Another reason we chose these particular themes and case studies are that they allow us to pose some quite interesting research questions. So as an example, artificial intelligence is developing rapidly around the world, but that can pose some very interesting ethical and legal problems. So for example, the advent of driverless vehicles, how do we program a machine to make an ethical decision between potentially having a collision with a fixed object and harming the person in the vehicle, or potentially hitting a pedestrian and causing harm to that person? So these issues that these themes that we've developed will enable us to explore some common issues that occur with research projects, such as the ethical and legal considerations. Also, these themes allow us to pose multiple research questions, and they're largely interdisciplinary in nature. So many of the large research projects going on at large universities around the world now are interdisciplinary in nature. Also, these themes and case studies allow us to think about different research methods that we can use to address different research questions. So, thinking now about the teaching methods. So, as has already been mentioned, the course is very much problem-based and experiential. So what that means is, rather than just telling you what to do and how to do it, you'll be learning by actually doing and receiving lots of formative feedback on your work. So there'll be an emphasis on working in small groups with small group tutorials. You will receive excellent software training and a lot of feedback throughout the course. So, in summary, why would you wish to do this course? Well, if you complete this course, you will have a deep understanding of some of the most important and emerging areas of engineering research. You will be able to critically evaluate what has been done before you in your own area of engineering interest. You will have posed interesting questions that have yet to be addressed and that have real importance in engineering. You'll be able to design appropriate research methods to address varied research questions from different viewpoints in an ethical and safe way. You'll be able to apply qualitative and quantitative analytic methods to answer your research question. And in short, you will be prepared to undertake master's level study at a top university and have a highly desirable research skill set relevant to engineering employers worldwide. Thank you.
Aspect of admissions, Shamisa.
I'm Shamisa Barnett. I'm the head of Academic Centre Administration for Foundation Programmes here at ICE. Myself and a large group of other administrators will be here to assist you through the applications, admissions, and hopefully award phase of this programme. I hope we've managed to entice quite a few of you to start thinking about applying for this course. Just to run through a few things that we do absolutely need for you to complete and attach to your application. The first and foremost is that we need a bachelor's degree at level 2.1, upper second class, or above, or an international equivalent. This degree needs to be in engineering or business or a subject related to those two areas. It needs to be from a recognized institution. There is a list that is available on the graduate admissions website at the university. If you have any questions, do contact us. Contact details will be given at the end of this presentation. All transcripts and certificates that are used during application must be translated into English when uploaded. We do require that you take a language test and you provide us with the results of that language test through the applicant's portal. We do accept IELTS at level 6.5 and all elements should not be lower than 6.0. We do accept TOEFL, Cambridge Advanced, and Cambridge Proficiency tests as well. As part of the application process, you do need to upload financial evidence. This should be in the form of an official bank statement. This cannot be a printout from an online account. This needs to be letter-headed from a bank. We need to see evidence that you can pay the tuition fee, which is for international students, $17,500. For home students, it's $13,875. There is an accommodation cost and maintenance cost. Maintenance cost is the cost of living. All these are outlined in a document which is on the ICE website. If you have a quick look, it will explain the breakdown of evidence that we need to see in your bank statement. Along with the other documents, we do ask for a research proposal. This must be discussed with the academic director, Nigel, prior to completing the proposal. We just need to make sure that this fits along with the objectives of this course. We also ask for a one-page CV or resume which outlines your academic career and your employment history. We ask for 2 references, one that can be an employment reference, but it must be from a manager or higher and must be recent. The guidelines on what we will accept are also on the website. We do ask for a personal statement, which is a short paragraph which outlines the reasons why you want to do this course and what you aim to do once you finished the course. As it's an international degree, there's an immigration component to the admissions process. There is a form on the ICE website, the IPM page, that you will need to download and sign as a declaration and upload onto your applicant's portal. Finally, we do ask that you tell us your preference in the 3 colleges that we have available for students on this course. We have Girton, Lucy Cavendish, which is a women's only college, and Wolfson. Please do note that while we try and place students in their preferred college, we cannot guarantee it. We will do our best to make sure you're in the place that you prefer to be. And now to action. Applications are open. We are accepting applications now. If you go directly to the IPM page on the ICE website, you can download all the guidance that you need to carry you through the application stage. Again, we have a contact information team that can help you. So this will be at the end of this presentation. Please contact us with any questions. You can call or you can email. To start your application, there is a button on the IPM web page. It's clearly marked Apply Now. From there, you'll be taken to the applicant's portal, where you will then start your application, create an account. You can save that application and come back to it at any point and upload as many documents and save them as you feel fit. Finally, there's a £60 application fee which must be paid before you submit your application. And once you've submitted, we will then start the process of looking through the applicants. The selection process is quite a detailed one. We start off with an interview which should be no longer than 30 minutes. It will be online, so we're not expecting you to come to Cambridge for the interview. There will be a panel of tutors and administrators who will review and ask you questions on that day. We will obviously contact you to find a suitable time given the time differences. There will be an additional English language test which will be administered by the Language Centre. Again, we will make sure that we set a time that is convenient for you. Following that, your application will be looked at by the departments, whether it's English or the business school, and then it will also be looked at by the colleges. Once that's been done, we will then start sending out offers or letting people know the result of their application. Some important dates to note. We are open to take applications, but applications close on the 29th of March. So if you are thinking of applying, you do need to start looking at making appointments for your English language testing, getting your finances in order so that you can provide the evidence required. Admissions interview will happen in April. We will notify those that are successful and we will schedule ahead of time. In terms of fee payment, we expect that to be made before the course starts, and the deadline to make tuition and accommodation payments is the 30th of August this year, 2019. The official start of term is 1st of October, and the programme ends on the 30th of June 2020, with an awards ceremony planned for August 2020.
And over to Gary, talk about life in Cambridge.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Shamiso. My name's Gary Bishop, and everybody you've spoken to so far is going to be committed to an excellent academic experience for you. But I'd like you to know also that we're also concerned about making sure that you have a fantastic Cambridge experience. So if I go on to the next slide, we'll be telling you now something about the accommodation, and that's on a video link which we'll show you now.
We'll try.
Or we'll try. And I'll carry on talking while you watch this video.
It worked earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just talk over this. The accommodation choices you have are between Swirls Court and Mount Pleasant Halls, and these are both new purpose-built buildings for you, and they will have all the facilities that you require. There'll be the laundry, social spaces so that you'll mix with people outside of your programs as well. We'll have kitchen facilities, cooking facilities for you, and of course I don't think this is shown in the video, but you'll also have Wi-Fi, and when we get into the bedrooms you'll see that you'll have your individual ensuite room, and you'll be quite comfortable there, I think, for entertaining your friends and working and studying as well. You'll also find on site that there'll be a nurse in case you're poorly, and within the colleges you'll also get study support as has been outlined, as well as concerns, if you've got any concerns about your well-being, that there's counselling to support you through any hard times that you might have as well. Of course, there'll be plenty of clubs and sports for you to join into as well, and all the colleges have public lectures which are open to not just members of the public but any students, which will be about topics, cutting edge research and so on, outside of your discipline, and that will certainly add a lot of interest for you. Now you can see from the first couple of bullet points there that the student population makes up a large part of the population. But before I go further into Cambridge, just to let you know that Cambridge is in a fantastic location within the UK. You can get into London fairly quickly, either by car or by train, and we have brilliant airport links, so you can go anywhere in Europe or further. And if we move on to the next slide, please. Life in Cambridge. By all means, buy yourself a second-hand bike and run over the locals. There's lots of bikes in Cambridge and lots to do as well. Lots of students here, and so of course the shops, the clubs, the pubs and so on are ready and waiting for you. And as well as pastime, you can do the traditional punting, fabulous walks around Cambridge. As well as the sporting facilities such as the local football club, and if you like gambling, there's horse racing nearby as well. And from before you even come here, the academic team have been thinking about your next step, and of course the obvious next step is where will you go, which masters would you like to progress onto, and so you'll be getting advice fairly well as soon as you arrive, and then progressively as you go through your studies. The deadline for applying for a master's course is February, but we'll be considering that at staged intervals as we go through your studies. We're also thinking about life beyond your studies, and networking is a really essential part of your learning here and part of your experience. So there'll be many conferences where you'll be exposed to existing master's students showing off their research, PhD students. So we're hoping to inspire you and hoping that you might stay with us for beyond your studies, and as well as getting employers in and so on. And we'll make sure that you keep in touch with the Career Service so that they can show you the opportunities that are available, not just in Cambridge or the UK, but overseas as well. The award ceremony, which we hope you all attend, will be in August. And of course, when you leave us, we'll invite you to join the Alumni Association so that we don't lose touch with you in the future. And what you can see there are some links for any further information that you might want, but do we have time for the Q&A now?
Yes, okay. We certainly do. Yes. To say thank you to all of the speakers, and thank you for the questions that have been asked already. If you wish to submit your questions as we're speaking, please do so. Could I suggest, Corey, if you read the questions out, then the panel could pick up the answers. Would that be okay?
For sure. So the first question is there an age limitation for this program? And should it be helpful for future application of other Cambridge degrees?
Can I pick up the age question? So I understand there's a minimum age. You need to be 21 at the point when you commence your study. The second question, will it help to gain access to postgraduate study at Cambridge. I have to be clear, there is no guarantee that if you complete this course successfully, that you will get offered a place at Cambridge. However, we are thinking in the design of this course how a student would succeed at Cambridge or at other brilliant research-intensive universities around the world. So we will do everything we can to create the right networks, to deliver the right teaching, deliver brilliant support to maximize the potential of applying successfully to this university and others. So this is what this course is all about, but we can't offer a guarantee. I don't know if colleagues wanted to add anything to that.
I would just reiterate that as well. For example, if you study a master's degree at Cambridge and want to do a PhD, there's no guarantee that you will progress from a master's to a PhD. So I think at each stage, courses are designed to prepare students as well as possible to apply to the next stage. But wherever you study, there's rarely a guarantee of progression.
Next question asks, may I ask the pre-enrollment number of this program?
So the number of students that will be on this program, is that? Yeah. So we anticipate there'll be a minimum of about 30 students in total. So there will be a cohort, a global cohort of friends and peers, but there will be enough time for individual tuition and support. Again, colleagues may wish to expand on that, but around 30 initially, we think.
Next question, I think, has already been answered, but I'll put it to the room. Does studying pre-master give students any advantage getting into a master's at Cambridge University?
I would say it provides an advantage, but no guarantee.
Next question, how many semesters are there in a calendar year?
Do you want me to say that? Yeah, Cambridge, having been around as long as it has, doesn't really organise its time into semesters. The Cambridge academic year is organised on 3 terms, so 3 terms a year. But to be specific for the international pre-masters, each term, one starting, for example, in October, one in January, etc., each term is 10 weeks long. So the whole programme is built on the idea of 3 10-week blocks of study.
I think the next question also has been answered, but I'll put it to the room. If a student gets a certain grade, 65% or 70% overall, does it give them a guaranteed progression to master level?
Not at Cambridge, but at that level, that would be helpful when applying to Cambridge or other elite universities.
Next question. Do we have to come up with the research topic, or do we get to choose from the topics given by the professors?
If you look at the website for the course, it suggests the 4 themes that we've reviewed in this session, and it encourages you to select, if possible, a research topic in relation to one of those themes. But as Suta said earlier, there's no prescription. You're not required to. So the application process expects students to come up with their own research topic. Many students have already emailed me suggestions of things they would like to research. When I can usefully contribute, I send back suggestions. When I can't, I pass them on to colleagues who are picking up those. So I think for us it's very important that doing a year's study on a topic, it has to be something you're passionate about. You genuinely love and have a commitment to research. So I think the idea of academics prescribing topics is somewhat against the spirit of the course.
Thank you.
Next question. My major is advertising, marketing and communication, a branch of marketing. I noticed that your academic background requirements must be related to business or engineering. Can I be eligible to apply for the program?
Shall I start? Yeah. Suta, go.
Nigel has already touched on that from the last question. So you're very welcome to apply because we're going to help you with your, is it advertising?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to look into advertising theory, and the models that are used to do that kind of research. So that's how it's structured. It's structured to accommodate your interest. Over to you, Jim.
I would agree 100%. We can support your application. We would look at the detail, but in theory, absolutely open to apply to this course.
Another similar question. My undergraduate degree is media and communication discipline. Can I apply to the business pathway?
Again, I would say probably yes. We can look at the background of the prior qualification, but business management is a broad discipline, and in theory, we would be supportive of the application.
Similar sort of question about background. A potential student asks, they're a telecom engineer with 18 years of experience, they would be eligible to apply.
It's open access. There's no barrier on age or experience. This is about progression to postgraduate study. We are open to all suitably qualified applicants.
Next question is, what's the enrollment rate for master's degree?
I've had this question many times already, sent to me by email. A common question is, what are the metrics for progression, meaning what percentage of students progress to a master's degree? Obviously, we can't at this stage answer that question because this course will be absolutely brand new when it starts. So over the life cycle, the first iteration of the course, we will collect all this data. We will collect students' destination data, and then we'll make that available to subsequent iterations. But at this stage, there isn't an answer.
Next question is, can I apply directly for a master's without pre-master course?
It depends on the university. It depends on their requirements. If you have good English and good subject degree, then absolutely. This is a course for bright, engaged graduates who are looking to develop English language skills and their discipline skills. So this is preparing for postgraduate study, but some students could apply directly to postgraduate levels.
Next question is, does the course accept people who would like to do a second master's degree?
It's a good question. I think we'd have to look at the details and look at the reasoning behind wishing to study on the IPM. So we wouldn't say no, but we'd need to look at the details of the application. Nigel, would you?
I think for me, one of the key questions would be, for example, is it related to an intended career change? So if somebody was wanting to change career and do the international pre-masters so they could progress to a master's in a completely different field, then yes, I think that's really important part of the rationale for this course. But there is a tendency often, or occasionally, for students to study masters after masters after masters, and we're looking to take students who have definite goals in mind of career progression.
I think that's a good response.
Next potential student writes, should I write a research proposal for 1 term, Unit 3, as it requires independent research, or for 3 terms, a whole year of IPMs? I'm not sure how much time duration of research I should consider.
I think this is a really important point. It's important to bear in mind that the first 2 units of the course are preparing students to do their research. There's no expectation that as soon as a student gets here in Unit 1 and at the beginning of Unit 2, they will be actively doing their research. So you need to think of a smaller scale research project which is realistic and deliverable. So if we think the 3rd term is 10 weeks, you might start work on your research project halfway through Unit 2, so that extends the time you have to work on it. But the proposal should be linked to a small scale, realistic, doable research project that you can do in 10-12 weeks and fits within the confines of a 12,000 word report or dissertation.
Thank you. Next question. Do you partner with education consulting agencies?
So we don't partner with agents at the moment. We don't have any plans to. So it would be about a direct application to the University of Cambridge. And that's...
More just popped in.
Oh.
If someone has worked for more than 5 years with a little lower GPA, like 3.3 or 4.0 or 84%, is it possible to join the program?
So the degree requirement is a upper second class honours or international equivalent. So the question would be, is the degree qualification equivalent to that level? So we would need to investigate. But this will be a challenging and academically rigorous program. So the academic level is quite demanding.
That's all the questions for now. If you want to wait a few minutes to see if anything comes in.
Would you say, colleagues on the panel, if there are any other thoughts about the programme at all? Sorry to throw that at everyone.
I think one of the most important things for people who have participated or are watching this when it goes on the internet site is to remember to ask questions. If you have questions about your research proposal, I'm the contact there. Please feel free to contact me. Several people have sent me full proposals and I've commented on them. And when they're beyond my expertise, I send them on to colleagues who can. So for me, it's fundamental that people are engaged with the programme and feel free to ask academic questions of myself, of Suta, administrative questions of Shamisa and her colleagues.
And just to add from an applications perspective, a few questions have come in about getting a Tier 4 visa and sort of concerns about that. Please don't start worrying about that at application. Once you've been made an offer, we have a whole department that is available and ready to assist you with your Tier 4 visa. There will actually be a webinar specifically for offer holders to guide them through the Tier 4 application process.
Comment just posted up from a student. The website says 120 level 6 credits will help for master at UK University, not Cambridge.
So, firstly, level 6 in the UK is degree level qualification. So this is a Cambridge qualification that is about preparing to study at the postgraduate level. The design of the course will help to think about postgraduate study, but we cannot offer a guarantee. But what we can offer is a University of Cambridge qualification at level 6. We feel this is the most robust way of providing an IPM. Many IPM programs have no recognised qualification and no guarantee of progression. We have a recognised qualification from this university, but no guarantee of progression.
And I think I would just add, in terms of what does level 6 mean for people who may be watching this, we're talking about a full year of study, 120 credits at third year undergraduate equivalent standard. So it's the standard immediately prior to master's level. And I think, as Lee said in his presentation, and I thought that was a really useful way of conceptualizing the course, it is a bridge between between undergraduate level study and master's level study. And I think issues like language skills and the development of critical thinking skills, these are really important precursors for preparation for master's level study in Cambridge or any international university for international students.
Other questions just popped through. Just a quick question out of curiosity. Will the students on this program be considered as full University of Cambridge students?
Yes, they will be matriculated member full-time students. They will be a member of a college, full member of a college and of the university. So absolutely 100% yes. Excellent.
And I think, again, sorry to keep butting in, Jim,
That's what,
and therefore able to participate in everything the university has to offer, from sports activities, cultural events, library facilities, and that full status as a member of the university, I think, is absolutely crucial, because their position within the broader university will be similar to every other student here.
I think that's the key. I mean, the resources of this university, the networks within this university are what makes it Cambridge, what makes it this fantastic university. It's irrespective of how people think about Cambridge, it is this welcoming place, and it's about inquiry, it's about communities of learning, it's about friendships and professional networks. It truly is a fantastic place to be, and I think as a setting for an IPM program, it really is one of the best places in the world to be. Colleagues, I'm just going to ask, unless there's anything else to say, and unless there are any another question, we will just wait for one more question.
After successfully completing this program, will students get a certificate?
Yes, so there will be a University of Cambridge Advanced Diploma 120 credit award. This is a recognised university award. It has a global currency, and so to be absolutely clear, there is a certificated university endpoint to this course. Okay, I'm just going to say thank you to all of my colleagues. They put a tremendous amount of work into this presentation. Thank you very much for listening. I really hope that we can welcome you to the University of Cambridge in October. Please ask questions about the admissions process directly to us, and we will do everything we can to help. So have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And thank you very much indeed for listening.
They will say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.